Look at that. We're live right now, but guess what? We
Oh,
forgot to play something, Jacinta.
we did. It's okay. It's okay.
You know
I
what?
mean,
We might as well do it, right?
let's just do it. Let's just do it. There you go.
Hi, my name is Netta Jenkins.
Hi, I'm Jacinta Mathis, and we are the co-founders of Dipper.
Dipper is a technology platform that guides professionals of color to a better workplace, one review at a time.
Dipper is your safe space. It is the time for you to share your voice with a community that you are a part of. Visit us and join today at ourdipper.com.
We're back. Look at
We're
that.
back. We're back.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I think, look, there's so much going on, right? Like always. I feel just there's so many chaotic things happening, and people are so up and down that I feel like I've become an expert at like controlling my peace, right?
Mhm.
Like which didn't happen pre-COVID, didn't have that at
Yeah.
all. But I do think and some of that is kind of in line with what we're going to talk about today. Like some of it is I allow myself to get mad and like, allow myself to care about things and allow myself not to care about certain things. So,
I like that. I
but
like that.
I'm still a work in progress.
I hear
WIP over here.
I hear that. I
So,
love that you said you allow yourself to get mad.
mm,
I think oftentimes like people talk about, oh yes, I just, you know, I just pause and reflect. But you're like, no, listen,
yeah,
I allow myself to get mad. And it's so good for us to release that energy, right? Because as human beings, we all get mad. There's something that is going to make us mad. But how are we managing that and how
100%.
are we releasing that is so important. So I'm happy you said that. But back to your point, today we really have a hot topic and it's titled
Yes.
Stepping Forward for What You Believe in at Work.
Hmm.
I like
It's
that.
It's
Yeah.
and I think spring is always a time of like renewal and like just moving forward. I know some folks were like, the new year was a hot mess. So they're going to say that like second quarter is their new year, like first quarter didn't
Right.
exist.
Right.
Um, yeah. And some of it is like stepping forward, like talking about when when you need to speak up. And I think we're seeing that so much in the news.
Mhm.
I think we're seeing folks losing their whole job. Thank goodness they got it back, but
Yeah.
losing their whole job for like what they believed in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know a lot of us that are willing to do that. Like that's huge, right?
It's big. It is really big. It's really big. There's a layer of risk,
Mm-hmm.
a level of risk associated with stepping forward and speaking up for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
especially within the workplace. And so I guess the question is, how do we do that so that we're able to drive the impact that we're looking for, but also protect our peace? And like, is that even possible to do both of those things?
Yeah. I mean, I can only speak from my own example,
Yeah.
right? And then possibly what I've observed. And I don't know, I would almost say like power comes with some privilege,
Hmm.
100%.
Mhm.
But I also believe it comes with some responsibility. And I remember being in a position where I was an executive at a place that had both exempt and non-exempt workers. So you're talking about, you have people that are salaried employees and you have people that are hourly employees. A lot of businesses have this like duality when you have folks that possibly are running like administrative operations and then folks that are in warehouses in
Yeah.
your business is operating 24/7. And I think, I was one of the salaried employees and I was also an executive, but I recognized that like a lot of our policies and how we thought about the business benefited those people, the people that were like us, that were, in salaried positions. However, what I recognized is a lot of the people who were hourly employees, who were in warehouses, who were working around the clock, who happened to also be Black and brown people, but were almost getting like the short end of the stick, and also weren't represented in a lot of those like decision making operations. And I remember getting mad, like
Yeah.
getting mad to the point, like, you know, I was professional, but I also let folks know that I was on the borderline of being very unprofessional. Like, I think I said that.
Okay.
Like, this is so disappointed. This is so outrageous.
Mhm.
But I recognized in that scenario where I was speaking up that I had privilege. Like, I
Mm.
felt like my job was safe,
Yeah.
and like, even if I spoke up or not. I don't know if like a lot of folks don't have that positioning. Like, they feel that although they want to speak out, if they do, they could lose their job. And
Yeah.
I think I was in a position where like I was okay if I lost my job over this,
Mm.
because I was also like, do I want to work at a place that will practice this activity? Like, if they don't change this, I'm
Mhm.
okay not working here. So
Mhm.
I think once you step into like, I'm okay risking it all,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is funny, because I think about like so many movements in our culture. Some people have been, I remember someone telling me, I went to a protest and she looked at me in my face and was like, don't show up unless this is something you're ready to die for. And I was like, damn, like, that's real. Like,
Yeah.
I think so many people before us globally, right? Like, fought for liberation, fought for justice,
Yeah.
and it means that they were willing to die for it. And
Yeah.
we're just talking about what you're doing at work.
Well,
Like,
I like, and I said that actually I had a conversation with someone, and I said that just yesterday. I said, the people that came before us, right? Our ancestors that came before us that fought for people's rights. The work that they were doing can never compare to the work today. you know, um, and even the work that I do. Like, I would never even compare myself to what was done, because that was them literally saying, I am putting my life on the line.
right.
And I think, you mentioned something so powerful, power and privilege. And I think it's so important for us to reflect on, okay, like, what power do I hold in this particular situation? I do that all the time. Or what privilege
Mm-hmm.
do I hold in this particular situation? And then that way I'm able to see, okay, well, is this the moment that I can go all out? Right? Like, is this the moment?
You assess the situation. Like, you don't just dive in.
Just
Like,
dive
you're
in.
it's thoughtful,
Right.
right?
Is it
Yeah.
this moment, or do I need to be a little bit more strategic? Bring a community of people, right? And a community, when I say community of people, it could mean, and this is regarding the workplace. It can
Mm-hmm.
mean those people that you lean on within the workplace that you really trust. That's your community. And you're bringing them along the journey with you to say, hey, I need you to help me amplify my voice, because I'm going to lift my voice today and share, what needs to be done, whether it be from a policy perspective, or something, or something that's a benefit, one of the
Mm-hmm.
benefits for the employees within the organization. So
I
it's really,
I love that.
yeah, so I think we have to definitely be strategic about it. But going back to what you were saying as well, based on the work that you're doing, especially for folks like us that do advocate for people every single day. Like, if you're a leader, that's what you're supposed to be doing. You want your people to advance. You want to
Mm-hmm.
advocate for their rights and for their progression within an organization. But when you see that there's that level of pushback, you need to speak up. You need
Yeah.
to speak up. And there's a risk. That's when you assess the role that
I
you
love it.
play, right? But there's always going to be a level of risk there.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you brought up be strategic, because I think one of the misnomers we get from a lot of like recollections we hear about civil rights activities is it's almost articulated like it was an accident. Like I'll use Rosa Parks as an example.
Right.
We are often told this story that like she was tired from a long day of work and just sat down on a bus. But that discounts that she was a civil rights activist.
Right.
Who dedicated her life to the work. This is all pre-bus.
Right.
Who dedicated her life to the work of civil rights.
Mm-hmm.
And that was strategic. And
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't just doing it as an individual. Like she knew the consequences of doing so. Mamie Till, Emmett Till's mother, she knew what would happen from having an open casket at her son's funeral, which sparked the civil rights movement, although it was not pretty, although it was like grotesque and it would get on covers of magazines. She knew very strategically like what would occur and the impact that that would have.
Absolutely.
And it was thoughtful. And I think it's so funny because with being strategic, another pro tip I have embraced is like every action does not warrant an immediate reaction. Like it is okay for us to be thoughtful. This can be an email. This can be something someone says in a meeting. I have noticed like a lot of times folks will may ask you to make an important decision or offer feedback on something you might have recognized there's some inequalities in. You don't have to respond right away. Like you can be like, I hear you. Let me think on that and get back to you. And you can do that.
No, I love that. I know earlier in my career, if I would receive an email that was microaggressive or off, I'm reacting, right? Let's nip this in the butt right away.
Right.
But I had to get better at, okay, take a step back, assess the situation and calm down, right? Because now you've been able to really assess what's happening here, the dynamic. You can think through it as opposed to just reacting immediately. And it goes back to what you were saying about, again, the strategic aspect of that, right? And protecting your peace. And I see Amy said here, a thoughtful pause. Yes. Yeah.
100%.
Right? Pause and then scream now. But
yeah.
That thoughtful pause is so critical. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I know you probably have very like strategic ways to do this because you are the DEI expert, But even when we think about how do we activate our allies, because you might be in a position where you don't necessarily feel you wield power to speak out and up on something. And there may be ways you can identify like trusted allies, other organizations that potentially have the power you don't think you have. Where if you're like, look, I can't risk it all. Like I'm a single mom, I'm the sole provider. If I lose this job, there will be mouths that won't get fed. Like I can't do this, right? Like maybe you're in that position. And so you want to identify like allies and other folks that can speak out for you. Or like how should people approach their DEI leadership to speak out for them if they're noticing some injustices too?
Yeah. So I'll start off with those that are practicing allyship, right? Often what I say to folks that are practicing allyship, actively listen, assess the dynamic within your meetings, even if you're working on a cross-functional level, right? Or the people that you're working with, what's happening in that meeting? Do you even understand? It's like, how are people speaking to each other? Who's being silenced? Who's being talked over? Who is stealing ideas and then duplicating them within that meeting, right?
Yeah.
And acting as if it's their own idea when we all know it came from someone else. As someone practicing allyship, you can say in that meeting, hey, actually, I love the idea that so-and-so brought up or that Lisa brought up just the other day. Lisa, can you share a little bit more about that? See, that's a light, passive way to even amplify someone's voice to make sure that they're seen. Or, you know what, let's actually have that idea last week. I know she spoke about it in the last meeting, right?
Like calling it out. Yeah.
Right. But now Lisa
Yeah.
knows, oh my goodness, I have
You saw her.
someone in my community that is
Mm-hmm.
backing me. Like
Yeah.
she feels seen, she was supported. That then creates a psychological safe space for that individual to speak up, you know. But oftentimes what happens is people will watch. We've all seen this. The negative dynamics exist within meetings and say nothing. It's like, you know that I said that same thing last meeting. No one said anything, but now this individual brings it up and everyone is gun ho about it, right? There's an issue. So we have to definitely step up to the plate, and especially those practicing allyship with those privileges and power to say, no, 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 I'm sitting here. I saw what happened, right? Or if you don't feel comfortable saying anything in the moment, if you have a relationship with that individual that maybe is over talking someone, step put them, step to the side and say, hey, I saw this dynamic happen today. It made me feel a little uncomfortable. I can only imagine how that individual felt, right? Here's what I recommend. Like, why don't you acknowledge that's what happened and apologize? We're all humans. We will accept an apology. If someone apologizes to me, I don't care what background, race, gender, whatever, and you know that you were in the wrong and you apologize, I will be open to hear you, right? And if you can then create that path forward to say, hey, Netta, I recognize what I've done and I can only imagine how that would feel. I created this path forward for me not to ever make you feel that way again. Does this work? Right? Now that allows all of us to have a greater, more impactful conversation, but it's not happening within the workplace. And I think those are the type of that's the type of education within organizations that need to be amplified and taught.
Those were free gems. And if you want more, you should buy Netta's book.
Oh, yes,
Like
yes.
those were free gems. No, that was great. No, I think it's so important. Like we're seeing people. I saw someone in the comments saying they just resigned from their job because of this. Like recognizing that causing good trouble in some scenarios
Yeah.
will in fact could put your job on the line or choose you, like drive you to make another decision
Yeah.
in that career path. And I think some things we're going to talk about later this month are definitely around finding a new lane in your current job or outside of your job, or figuring out different ways to forge a new path so you kind of protect your peace, but also invest in your own growth and your own career development. And I don't know, are we out of time, Netta, or do we have more time? Like
We are
this was good.
This was good.
Goodness.
This was good. Listen, we gave all we got. Okay. And
we did. This
we'll
was
be back
good.
next
This was
Tuesday.
good. Yeah.
No, but this is
Yeah.
great. I want to thank everyone that has engaged with us. We see all of your comments. Thank you so, so much. Every Tuesday, Jacinta and I.
Thursday.
Every Thursday. Look,
Thursday.
goodness.
Okay.
I really thought it was Tuesday.
It's okay.
I'm so happy
Thursday.
tomorrow's Friday.
Yeah,
oh my God.
it's a gift. I just gave you a gift. It's Thursday.
Every Thursday, correction.
Yes.
We have our Shut Up and Listen live sessions. And I want to ask everyone that's tuning in right now, run to ourdipper.com. That's OURDIPPER.com right now. We have a review and rating site. And so we want to make sure that people are guided to organizations that truly will value them, elevate them, and advance them. You can find that information on Our Dipper. Do your due diligence before you get yourself in an organization that will not respect you, right? Read those
Absolutely.
reviews. Any other words of wisdom from you, Jacinta?
No, I think I hate to say it, but I'm gonna say it. Keep causing some trouble.
Good trouble.
And good trouble. And I think we really learned here, activating allyship, really being strategic and thoughtful, and putting some giving some thought to the things you said, and then like finding your community and your people that are going to activate good trouble with you, so you're not at it alone, and while you're also like protecting your own personal peace and
Yeah.
finding those things. And while you're at it, like, share your experience. I think that is the whole reason we created a technology platform called Dipper, is because we wanted to provide an outlet for people to share their experiences, so that when you go into something new, you kind of know what you're getting in there for. So hope you all join us again on Thursday. We'll be right here.
Take care, Jacinta.
All
I
right,
miss
bye,
you
girl.
already. Bye.
All right.